It's been an interesting week for the world of gold and silver, with Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, announcing that gold and silver will be used as legal tender once again in their state. Now, I am not going to pretend that I know the ins and outs of that particular bill and the legislation and what is going to be allowed and not going to be allowed and what's going to be able to be used as legal tender. That's not what this video is about. Instead, I want to do a bit of a commentary on the practicalities of the adoption of gold and silver as legal tender once again within Florida or any other state that might join them for that matter in the future, and whether or not it's really something that's practical. Because whilst it sounds like a fantastic idea and it harks back to the Constitution of the United States, where of course gold and silver are legal tender, in fact the only legal tender mentioned in the Constitution, and the modern world that we live in, it's just a very different time and place, and cash, dollars, pounds, euros, whatever the currency is you're using, is king. Cash is king, that's that phrase. But even cash is actually that little bit less practical than it used to be. A lot of businesses now don't like to take cash because they get a lot of problems with their banks about depositing large sums of cash and accusations of money laundering. And there are just so many different random restrictions that, maybe not so much in the US, but certainly in the UK, that are put on businesses that deal with a lot of cash. So paying by debit credit cards are the way forward. And unfortunately, I feel like that's what's really going to put the pale to the practicalities of going down to a shop that maybe has opted into this scheme and paying with fractional gold or fractional silver. Or if you're making a big purchase, perhaps you're going down there with a bunch of big gold and paying with that. So a little bit of my commentary, thoughts and feelings on this subject. I'd love to know what you've got to say, so please feel free to comment down below in that comment section with your thoughts and opinions on this subject.